ó yá tálára bá ti ń gbọ́ kó sọ fàjẹrò tájẹrò bá ti ń gbọ́ kó tàtàpọ̀ ẹ̀sọ́ tí ọwọ́ àràǹgún àga bọ́rọ̀ tó gbòde ti gbẹ̀rẹ̀gẹ̀jigẹ̀ lórí afẹ́fẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tó gbòde níbi tẹ́tí máa pàdé bá mẹ́tò kọ́láwọlé Idris Sule tòun tàlájà àbíkẹ́ akí pẹ̀lú àti balógun òdúnifá adébáyọ̀ pẹ̀lú pásítọ̀ Amos ọlátújà àti tajudeen tìjání alábí ajàmọ́jẹ̀bi ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ìṣẹ́gun tí a mọ̀ sí Tuesday láago 4 ọ̀sán ní USA Eastern Time tó jẹ́ agogo 9 àṣálẹ́ ní UK Time àti agogo orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá tíá ọ̀rọ̀ tó gbòde tọmọdé tàgbà ló láǹfààní àti wètò yìí nítorí pé ó kún fọ́gbọ́n tó ń tòye tá a nílò lásìkò yìí gan ọ̀rọ̀ tó gbòde lórí ètò yìí bákan náà lẹ́ ò ti láǹfààní àti máa gbọ́ òkodoro ọ̀rọ̀ ohun tó ń lọ lágbàáyé ohun tó ń lọ nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà àti ní orílẹ̀-èdè gbogbo láì fi ipò mọ́yọ̀ rárá fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé síwájú sí i tàbí tẹ́ ẹ bá ní àwọn ìbéèrè àti àmọ̀ràn kankan ẹ lè pe atọ́kùn ètò sórí +1 203 685 2961 tàbí kẹ́kàn sí +44 793 972 6080 bákan náà ní ẹ lè pe +234 706 787 2785 ọ̀rọ̀ tó gbòde a ò ní wá mìtì nínú olóríire àmín. Ìkéde ń dé sí ti gbẹ̀yìn látọwọ́ ìgbìmọ̀ tó wà fún ìpolongo àpapọ̀ ẹ̀sìn ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tá a mọ̀ sí Yorùbá Nation Multi-Faith.
Mo kí gbogbo wa pé a kú ìrọ̀lẹ́ o, a kú ọjọ́ mẹ́ta o. Ní ni ìjọ pàdé wa míì. Mo tọrọ ìyọ̀ǹda pé mi ò lè wá ní last week for one reason or the other. Ìyá wa dẹ̀ ní wọ́n ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀, wọ́n ṣètò bó ṣe kó lọ. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run. Ntí ìyẹn ẹ̀kọ́ kan tá a gbọ́dọ̀ kọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé bí dandan kọ́ ẹnìkan kọ́ ló lè ṣe gbogbo nǹkan, ẹlòmíín náà lè ṣe. Sábàánà bí mi ò bá sí bẹ́ẹ̀ kò ní ṣe irọ́ là ń pa fúnra wa. Ẹ já mọ̀ pé anybody ló lè ṣe anything at any time. Báwo sí continuation of things we are doing will continue. So ẹ̀kọ́ nìyẹn fún wa. A dúpẹ́ pé mo tún wà pẹ̀lú ilé ni. Ìyá wa náà wà lọ́nà, wọ́n máa jẹ́ wa wà lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ nìbọ̀tà tó jẹ́ wa. Àwọn bàbá wa náà wà ń jókòó as always. Bàbá wa Amos Ọlátújà, bàbá kábíyèsí náà I miss wọn. But notwithstanding, bàbá wa àlejò wa wọ́n wà ń jókòó pẹ̀lú wa. A ní so much. Èmi á kàn introduce ara mi. Màá jẹ́ kí bàbá Ọlátújà introduce ara wọn dẹ̀. Màá gbé bàbá wọlé kí màmá tó dé. Ẹ ṣé gan-an ni. Ẹ wá nǹkan fìdílé o, ẹ fìdílé nǹkan. Àwọn bàbá máa tún sọ fún wa ṣẹ́mọ̀. Anytime tó bá wá la máa ń gbádùn ètò tó bá mú wá. A dẹ̀ rí àyè láti béèrè ìbéèrè tí a bá fẹ́. So ká fún ọ ní àyè kan kọ́kọ́ dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ náà. So èmi orúkọ mi á máa jẹ́ Kọ́láwọlé Idris, bàbá mẹ́tọ̀ fi lálà kingdom. Báṣọ̀run of Ògbóilé, Ọ̀túnba àdẹ Muslim Council. Bàbá wa Látújà wà ń bí. Amẹ́ríkà lèmi fi ṣe ibùgbé. So I'm in Connecticut ní USA. Bàbá wa Látújà, mo pass baton sí kẹ́ introduce ara yín.
Ẹ ṣeun dáàdi wa, ẹ kú ètò náà. Kí gbogbo wa pé
Sorry, I'm not able to make a phone call at this time,
a
but
káàbọ̀
you
ní
can ask
ìrọ̀lẹ́
me to
yìí
place a
o,
FaceTime call.
a káàbọ̀ lọ́sàn-án, a káàbọ̀ ní àṣálẹ́ bíi tí gbogbo ẹnì kọ̀ọ̀kan wa bá wà. Bá ṣe máa ń ṣe ní gbogbo ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ ní ọjọ́ Tuesday la máa ń péjọpọ̀ fún ètò tí a máa ń ṣe Multi-Faith. Orúkọ tèmi ni Pastor Amos Ọlátújà. Ìlú Amẹ́ríkà lèmi náà fi ṣe ibùgbé ní Brooklyn. Ìjọ The Gospel Faith Mission International. Mo ti ń ṣe iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run fún ààbò rẹ̀ lórí ẹnì kọ̀ọ̀kan wa. Ọ̀pọ̀ lóṣù tí yóò jí mọ́. Ọ̀pọ̀ ló lọ sí ìrìn àjò tí wọ́n débi tán lọ. A fi yọ̀ wọ́n, ṣùgbọ́n ká lè gbé ògo Ọlọ́run ga pé ó dá ẹ̀mí wá sí. Orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá náà dáadé ń béèrè láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà á tẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́. A pé rí green light pé Ọlọ́run wa tá à ń ké pè lójoojúmọ́ pé ó ń gbọ́ àdúrà wa. Tó ẹ jẹ́ ká fọkàn balẹ̀. Wọ́n ní ẹlẹ́dẹ̀ adé Ọ̀yọ́, ìgbé kan máa pọ̀ lójú ọ̀nà ni. Tó dájúdájú ètò tí ò ní ó máa ládùn, ó máa lárinrin. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn tó wà lórí YouTube, ẹ máa bá wa subscribe, ẹ máa bá wa like, ẹ máa bá wa share. Olúwa dẹ̀ ràn gbogbo wa lọ́wọ́. Àwọn bàbá wa náà tá a dẹ̀ gbé wá lénìí, ó mọ̀ pé wọ́n ti múra wa sílẹ̀. Olúwa dẹ̀ bá wọn ṣiṣẹ́ pọ̀. Ẹnjìníà wa náà àyàgbóyájú, ẹ ṣe púpọ̀ ní gbogbo ọ̀sẹ̀. Ẹ máa ń ṣiṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú wa. Iṣẹ́ tẹ̀dẹ̀ ń ṣe ó jọ wá lójú, a máa lóore. Olúwa wà pẹ̀lú yín o. Láì fi àkókò ṣòfò, màá dá wa padà sí ọ̀dọ̀ bàbá wa Bámẹ́tò. Mo bá tó yín sàn.
Ẹ ṣé gan bàbá Ọlátújà. Àwọn bàbá wa Dr. Báṣègùn, àwọn ni Dr. Òní, àwọn ni àlejò wa. Nítorí ẹ̀ máa bá a sọ nípa ẹ̀ ni pé bí nǹkan ṣe ń lọ ẹ báyìí, what's the way forward àbí kí ni a lè rí sọ síbẹ̀. So wọ́n á dá wa ní ẹ̀kọ́ lórí ẹ̀. Mo fi tọ̀tọ̀ dárúkọ wọn, mo dẹ̀ fi tọ̀tọ̀ gbé wọn wá sí orí ìpàdé kí bàbá wa IT manager wa ẹ bá gbé bàbá wọlé. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sà, a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín fún pé ẹ jẹ́ kọ́rọ̀ wá sú yín o. Ẹ̀yin náà la máa rí dé bá all the time o. Ẹ máa gbà á náà ni. Ẹ gbà á bá a bá ṣe gbà ó. So ẹ ṣé gan ni, thanks for coming. Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah.
Ẹ káalẹ́.
Kálẹ́ sá o.
Kálẹ́ sà.
Ẹ káalẹ́ o. Ṣé l'Amẹ́ríkà bóyá ọ̀sán lẹ wà láàárọ̀?
Ọ̀sán la wà, mẹ́rin jẹ́ kọjá lọ́dọ̀ wa.
Mẹ́rin kọjá ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún ní New York.
Okay.
Àwọn kan wà láago mẹ́ta nú wa.
Okay.
Àwọn kan dẹ̀ wà láago méjì nú wa.
Yes, it's a big spread, Abi, of the American continent.
Yeah.
Ẹ káalẹ́. The first thing ni pé màá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín pé you've invited me to break bread with you, which I'm always very happy to do.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to initially speak in English and then I'll try and translate as best as I can into Yoruba.
No problem, sir.
Partly because people who are listening to us are not always just Yoruba people. And sometimes we are the people who we need to convince. The topic you gave me is this: where are we heading towards now? That's the topic I was given. Now, the advantages of Yoruba exit or Yoruba exit are very clear to us. There's nobody who can argue there's no advantage to Yoruba land standing on its own as an independent nation. The first and most important is that Yoruba exit reasserts the Yoruba identity. That is very important. That identity is very, very important. It is that identity that took Britain out of Europe. That's the basis of Brexit. That the British wanted to reassert their identity. That's why they left Europe. It took our forefathers centuries to develop that identity. Identity didn't just arrive. Our forefathers developed it over centuries. They then handed it to us in good shape, in the expectation that we will hand it over to the next generation again in good shape. Because Yoruba exit, it means that we can do things the Yoruba way. We do not have to look over our shoulder. We can keep our money in Yoruba land. We can develop Yoruba land the way we want. We can educate and employ our young people the way we want. And last but not least, Yoruba exit means that we can play a more visible and constructive role on the international stage. The amalgamation was done was that so that the Yoruba could pay for the administration of the impoverished northern Nigeria. Northern Nigeria was costing Britain a lot of money. They were doing the north. Later on, I believe that the British knew they had made a mistake, because for the next 30, 40 years, they were writing a series of constitutions. They write one is no good, they write another one is no good, they write another one is no good. All in an attempt to keep, they had difficulty in keeping Nigeria together. So they were writing all these constitutions. The last attempt was the 1960 constitution. And that constitution fell apart on day one of independence. By the following week, Ahmadu Bello was already saying that the whole of Nigeria belonged to the Fulani, and that that's what they should do. And since 1960, civilian governments have come, they've gone. Military governments have come and gone. But not one of them has been able to cure the Nigeria disease. It's not possible to cure it. So it shouldn't surprise anyone at all that some of us believe that getting Yoruba out of Nigeria lies in the hand of Britain, because it is in Britain that it all started. Now, there are many ways of doing this. In the past, I've floated the idea of going to court, for example. But what we have done this time is different. What we have done this time is to form a political party, the Yoruba Party in the UK, Yoruba Party for short, or you can let's call it YPUK. This is a political party like any other political party, and it is registered with the Electoral Commission in London. The primary purpose of the party is to encourage, energize, and assist Yoruba people living in the United Kingdom to achieve their full potential as individuals and as a group, and to encourage and assist Yoruba people in the UK to contribute their all to the political and socio-economic life and the development and growth of the UK. This is very important for us because this is what the Jews have done. The population of Jews in this country, in the UK, is almost exactly the same as the population of the Yoruba people. In the UK, any politician that says anything against Israel has signed his political death. And, even the leader of the Labour Party in the UK, because he said something against Israel, was expelled from his party. That's how powerful they are. And they are powerful because they are in the fabric. They are in the fabric of the country, of the society. And that is what we too have to do. We too need to get into the fabric so that anything that we want to say about Yoruba land, we can say it. What we want for Yoruba land, we can request for it. And anybody who says anything bad about us, we can deal with him politically. So that brings me to the secondary purpose of the Yoruba Party, which is to provide the UK Yoruba community with a political influence and a megaphone to use to fight for our own interests. We want to broaden our political power. We want to have political clout. We want a seat.
Recording in progress.
We want a seat at the decision-making table. We don't want people to be making decisions for us. We want to have a seat at the decision-making table. And we want to sell the Yoruba. We want to sell ourselves to the wider population in the United Kingdom and to the world at large. Now, I need to emphasize that the Yoruba Party has no connection with Nigeria at all. We have no link with any political party in Nigeria or with any politician in Nigeria. This is purely a UK political party. We are not in competition with the self-determination organizations, and we are not in opposition to them because we are doing different things. We are pursuing different paths. The Yoruba Party belongs to the UK Yoruba community. It doesn't belong to any individual at all. It belongs to the community itself. And this is the reason why we have the right to have our own voice in the UK. Number one, a significant proportion of us live in the UK. In fact, the Yoruba are the largest ethnic group of African origin that lives in the United Kingdom. The second thing, which I hammer on time and time again, I hope that eventually it will sink in, is that there was a treaty between Britain and Yoruba land, which was signed by Queen Victoria and by Obadeyemi, the Alaafin of Oyo, on the 23rd of July, 1888. That treaty is still in existence. That treaty is still there. So finally, to round up so that I can allow for question, those who are not in the UK probably don't know that we have a parliamentary election that has just been called by the Prime Minister. And he's done it in such a way that everything is a rush. So he declares and says, you've got 6 weeks to prepare. Now, this election, although the Yoruba Party was formed in February, the election has been called for the 4th of July. This election provides the first opportunity for us to test run the party. So although we've just formed, we are just beginning to organize ourselves when this election was called. We are still nevertheless determined to take part in the election. Because this is a particularly opportune election for us. And because the major parties are in disarray, it is almost guaranteed that small parties are going to pick up seats. And so can the Yoruba Party. Hitherto, I am actually the only person that is seeking to be a candidate at the minute, because it requires a lot of paperwork and so on and so forth. In fact, I'm still dealing with the paperwork as we speak. And I have a meeting with the electoral officers tomorrow in London. I am standing as a candidate in Peckham. I don't know whether any of the members come from Peckham or have anything to do with Peckham. Now, I'm going to try and translate into Yoruba as best as I can. And I started by saying this, that láti ní òmìnira tiwa, it's not actually òmìnira. I mean, I use the word ìdádúró. That is, káwa Yorùbá ká ní ìdádúró, ó benefit wa. Nítorí pé the first thing ni pé identity wa as Yorùbá, àní jùnù. Àwọn èèyàn tó bá rí wọn Yorùbá rèé o. Nísìnyí báyìí kò sẹ́ni tó mọ̀ à ń Yorùbá, Nàìjíríà ní gbogbo wa, but àwa fẹ́ tiwa lọ́tọ̀, a ní ìdádúró tiwa pé àwọn Yorùbá rèé o. Àwọn tó wà níwájú wa ni wọ́n ti dá ìdílé Yorùbá. When àwọn òyìnbó wọn máa pe nǹkan ní state, country, àwa Yorùbá nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orílẹ̀-èdè. So irú ibi ní England báyìí wọ́n á ní orílẹ̀-èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì. So the Yorubas always tied language to territory. Orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. So nǹkan tí àwọn tó wà tán ti lọ níwájú wa, nǹkan tán fún wa nìyẹn, wọ́n fún wa ní orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ó yẹ káwa náà lè fún àwọn tó tẹ̀lé wa ní orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Awólọ́wọ̀ ó fi hàn wá nǹkan tá a lè ṣe tá a bá ní ìdádúró tiwa. Ó fún wa ní free primary education. In fact, I was one of the first. I was in the first set in 1955 for free primary education. Ó fún wa free primary education. Ó fún wa television. A ní television tí Europe, most of Europe kan tó ní television. Ó kọ́ Liberty Stadium, an Olympic Stadium. Kò sí kankan nínú ẹ̀ l'Áfríkà tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ kó tó kọ́. A ní Cocoa House, ilé tó ga jù l'Áfríkà nìyẹn gbà yẹn. So àwa mọ̀ pé tá a bá dúró lọ́tọ̀, tá a bá ní ìdádúró tiwa, a ṣàkitiyan. Ibi tí nǹkan ti bàjẹ́ ni pé àwọn òyìnbó nígbà tán wá sọ́dọ̀ wa 1914, tí wọ́n wá gba òmìnira lọ́wọ́ wa. Wọ́n ṣe nítorí pé wọ́n fẹ́ jí owó wa. Wọ́n fẹ́ jí owó wa láti kó fún àwọn Gàmbàrí, láti kó fún àwọn Northerners. Àwọn òyìnbó yìí wọ́n dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé nǹkan tán ṣe, wọ́n mọ̀ pé kò dáa. Torí pé wọ́n kọ constitution upon constitution upon constitution láti rí pé àkúrò Nàìjíríà náà fi ń ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. Kò dẹ̀ sí constitution tán ṣe tó pẹ́. Tán bá ti ṣe kan báyìí, a few years ó ti dàrú. Wọ́n tún ṣe mí, a few years ó ti dàrú. So wọ́n mọ̀ pé mistake, wọ́n mọ̀ pé nǹkan táwọn ṣe fún àwa Yorùbá ò dáa. Ìyẹn làwa fi rò wípé láti gba ìdádúró wa kúrò ní Nàìjíríà, ìlú òyìnbó láti máa lọ gbà lọ́wọ́ wọn. Ìlú òyìnbó láti máa àwọn ìlú òyìnbó tí wọ́n ṣe òfin wọn náà fi dá Nàìjíríà lẹ̀. Òfin yẹn báyìí afẹ́ kan fọ̀ dànù. Nítorí bẹ́ẹ̀ là á fi wá ṣe pátì tiwa tá à ń pè ní Yorùbá Party in the UK or Yorùbá Party. Kò sírú ẹ̀ rí ìlú yìí. Kò sí nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ìlú yìí ní Yorùbá Party tá a dá sílẹ̀. Nǹkan tá a fi dá sílẹ̀ ni pé a fẹ́ láti ran àwọn èèyàn wa lọ́wọ́ pé kán lè ṣe dáadáa. Torí pé tá a bá ṣe dáadáa ń bí, tá a bá lágbára ń bí, tá a bá lè ṣe nǹkan bí, a lè ṣe nǹkan Nàìjíríà. Torí tẹ bá rántí ìgbà tí wọ́n ṣe presidential election, gbogbo àwọn candidate ló sáré wá bí tán lọ sí Chatham House. Wọ́n láti máa júbà fún àwọn òyìnbó ń bì ní pé ẹ jọ̀ọ́ o, tá a bá di president o, àní bà nǹkan jẹ́ mọ́ yín lọ́wọ́ o. Wọ́n sáré wá bí láti wá máa bẹ̀bẹ̀ ni. So àwa náà wá rò pé táwọn ilé bá lè wá bí láti wá máa bẹ̀bẹ̀, ó yẹ káwa náà ní agbára ń bì. Ó yẹ ká lágbára ń bí. So ibi tí ọ̀rọ̀ wà nìyẹn o, wípé a ti political party lẹ̀. Election wà ní July the 4th. A máa take part in that election. Èmi ti register, máa register lọ́la láti ṣe election yẹn ní Peckham. So ibi tí mo bọ́rọ̀ dé nìyẹn o, and I'm now happy to answer any questions.
Ẹ ṣé gan bàbá, I'm very very glad you did what you did. It's a good move, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
You're going to be the first candidate for that party. And
Yes.
like you said, ó dá pé ní UK ni, mo dẹ̀ ní believe pé since we are all struggling to say we want orílẹ̀-èdè wa, ẹ lè bá wọn fà ń bẹ̀ tí ẹ bá ti lè wọlé, tí ẹ tẹ̀ máa wọlé ni kò ń ṣe tẹ́ bá ti lè wọlé. So this way we will be having saying, we'll be part of the policy makers. Ibi kan ẹranko tilẹ̀ bá ń wá ń gbà yẹn gan, tó bá ti wọra tán, you can easily say, hey, look, you are not wanted here. Go back home, go do whatever you're gonna do home. So irú yẹn ó ṣeé ṣe. Mo dẹ̀ wish ní luck. Mo wish pé àwọn èèyàn wá come around. Tán ni máa ṣe ìbàjẹ́. But ìlú yẹn da ìlú òfin ni. Ẹni tó bá ti ṣe ìbàjẹ́ tẹ́ bá ti pé lágbájá báyìí is working against it. Hey, do the right thing, man. See, let them call them to order. So Ọlọ́run fún ṣe. Now, ibi tí ìbéèrè kan ti fẹ́ béèrè ni pé báwo ni àwọn British ẹ ṣe dé gan tó fi jẹ́ pé North náà ń favour, kí ló fà á tó fi jẹ́ pé North náà ń favour, tó fi jẹ́ pé wọ́n jẹ́ káwa máa ṣe wàhálà nsàlẹ̀ kán máa fowó yẹn develop wọn ní North táwọn dẹ̀ fẹ́ ká já kúrò lára wọn. You have an answer to that, please?
Okay, yes. It is not only in Nigeria, not if basically àwọn òyìnbó wọ̀nyí, anywhere anybody challenges them, they behave exactly the same way. They will elevate the weakest, the one that cannot challenge them, and they put them in charge because they cannot stand the competition. Ṣé o pé àwa Yorùbá ti ń wá sílùú òyìnbó láti wá? The first, I remember Ajayi Crowther was a bishop in the 1850.
1864, I guess. Okay.
The Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh, to which I belong to, had a fellow from Yoruba land in the 1840s, 1850s. So, nǹkan tí wọ́n fi fẹ́ kí àwa, the only people tó challenge wọn nígbà tán wà nígbà táwọn òyìnbó wá sí Nigeria were the Yoruba people who challenged them.
Yes.
We were the only people that said, we don't want you here. And as I said, they used our money, our owó wa nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, náà kó lọ sí North to go and administer the North. So it is not difficult to understand why they favored the North. Because the North was impoverished. They couldn't pay for their own administration. Wọ́n láti gbowó lọ́dọ̀ wa láti lọ síbẹ̀. The second thing was that Lugard was the governor of Northern Region before he became the overall Governor General of Nigeria. So he had really emasculated them in the North. They had already become like a slave. But they couldn't do the same in the South. It couldn't be done in Yoruba land because àwa ti ń láwọn ọba tiwa, àti ní political organization tiwa, which was even Lugard in his report to Parliament said it was a democratic system. So it was difficult for them to get into the fabric of the way that the Yorubas were organized. That's why they couldn't favor the South. Remember, in the election of 1959, they rigged it for the North.
Sure.
The North, they said, oh, well, they couldn't get an electoral register because they're not going to allow women to vote. So they used an electoral college. Even when they amalgamated Nigeria, and the governor of Lagos was saying that Kwara, that area was Yoruba. No, they put it in the North, so that the population of the North, they can then balloon the population of the North. The things that they did are so terrible that if we can spend the entire day just talking about the terrible thing these people did to us as Yoruba people. Earlier today, somebody was asking me, we were talking about the Aladura, Cherubim and Seraphim, how did they come about? And I was explaining to him that this started with Reverend Lijadu. What happened was that they were not being promoted, they were not given their own parishes and so on. So that's why they left the Church of England and set up the African Church. Because almost as soon as the British started coming to Yoruba land, we started opposing them. We wanted to, the Yorubas wanted to do the same thing as they were doing. By 1931, the Yoruba, I mean, it's a lot of story. I tell you that most of us sadly have absolutely no idea about our own history. About 1931, the Yoruba Obas formed a conference of Oba. And they met with the governor of Nigeria regularly to tell him what they wanted. We were the only people that challenged them intellectually, and they couldn't take it. They really could not take it. And that's why we are where we are today. But it is the same way we are going to be, because there are so many things that are hidden, that one of the challenges that one will face as the Yoruba Party is to begin to unearth a lot of these things. I'll give you an example before the next question. When the committee, the Shelburne Committee, the Niger Committee met to discuss the feasibility of amalgamation, do you know they left the Yoruba country out of it? The Yoruba country was not explicitly in the committee report, excluding the Yoruba country.
Wow.
And yet, when they did the amalgamation, they put the Yoruba country in it. Explicitly. At that time, the British jurisdiction was either side of River Niger, just to Ilorin, the Delta, and the colony of Lagos, which was less than 50 miles from the coast. That was all they had. Meanwhile, in 1888, they had signed a treaty with the Alaafin of Oyo. And they signed that treaty to prevent the French from coming to Yoruba land, because the French were already negotiating with Abeokuta, with the Egbas. That's how the British came. They were the ones who asked for the treaty with the Yoruba land. They asked for the treaty. We didn't ask for any treaty, but because they saw the French incursion, they quickly, agreed. And that treaty is also a contract because it has consideration in it. So these are the sort of things that you can challenge when you are a political party. That we are going to ask Parliament to look into all these things. We are not asking them to give Yoruba land independence. No. What we want is for them to say that the process of incorporating Yoruba land in Nigeria is null and void. What we do is up to us. What we as Yoruba then do with that information is entirely up to us. We can say we'll remain in Nigeria. Nobody is stopping us. But we want to establish that the British were wrong to incorporate Yoruba land into Nigeria. That's all I'm interested in. Thank you.
I don't want to be domineering, but you touched my area right there. Because why this political is going on, the Yoruba party is going on, will you not need to address all those things? If we need to, take them to court or whatever, maybe at that time, it will be mature for something like that. It doesn't mean something to be done the first time, but at least it's going to be in the pipeline. All this will be prioritized. All the contract that they signed, that they breach of contract, all those will be some of the articles that we need to be picked up at the political level.
Well, I can tell you that actually the idea for the party only started after I started investigating how to sue, how to go to court.
Okay.
And finding out that it is a very expensive, when this woman challenged Brexit, I think it cost nearly £500,000.
Wow.
It's a lot of money. Although, the way that I was thinking was that if we don't, I don't know if there are any lawyers in the house, if we don't go the judicial review way and we sue the British government for breach of contract, because as I said, the Treaty of 1888 has a contract clause in it, because there is consideration in it. So it was not just a treaty, it was also a contract. And therefore, technically, we could go to court to sue for a breach of contract. That might be less expensive. That might cost maybe £50,000 or thereabout. Okay. So it was that consideration that eventually led to the fact that if we had a political party which is at par with all the other parties in the UK, then we could go through the political route. For example, an MP, if I get elected, an MP is entitled to what is called private members bill, in which you bring up a bill on the floor of Parliament in your own name. What that happens is that if for example you brought up the question of amalgamation, it has to be debated. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to get the bill to be enacted, but it will be debated. When it is debated, the whole world will hear the debate. The Yoruba people themselves, those who are rich amongst us, will hear the debate. And they might then be moved to say, okay, we will finance going to court. So that's the thinking. That's the way we're thinking. That once you have a registered political party that is taking part in an election, you are then able to do a lot of other things. You're able to do a lot of other things. Even as a candidate already, I'm getting, even though I have not been completely registered, I'm already getting information about what is going on, which I will never be privy to if we didn't have a political party.
May God help you, sir. Thank you. May God help you. The floor is open to everybody, please.
Thank you very much, Daddy, for every explanation that you have given us. So I have just 2 questions now.
Okay.
The position of this party in UK, how are we from other part of the country will be benefited from it? Are you not doing that for the people of UK alone, or every members of Yorubas in the entire world will be a beneficiary? Then the second question, what is the situation of Cocoa House now in Nigeria? Does it have anything to do with the Yorubas again? Thank you, sir.
Okay. If I take the second question first, I really have no idea what has happened to Cocoa House. I mean, I was in Nigeria in October when I was trying to sue the government. Anyway, that's another story. And the Cocoa House then, I can't remember whether it was closed or not. I mean, it was in a terrible state anyway. Not the place that I remembered when I left home, but anyway. But I'm not quite sure because the federal government seems to have taken over a lot of things. And by taking them over, they've ruined all of them anyway. I mean, for example, I think they were trying to refurbish the Liberty Stadium. I'm not sure whether they've done it or not, but I think they were trying to do it at the time. Your first question is the benefit, the worldwide benefit of the Yoruba Party, because as I said when I was talking, that we expect the party to be a megaphone, to be a source of
information.
Exactly, to the rest of the world. When we are established, we expect to have something to do with people in Brazil, something to do with people in Cuba, something to do with the people in the West Indies. We are not going to, the idea is not to form political parties everywhere, but the idea is to coordinate a lot of things to say, we Yoruba, we have an international certificate, by which I mean certificate of dispersal. We've been dispersed all over the globe. Forcibly, I mean, we didn't, it wasn't as if we decided that we were going to do it. This certificate of dispersal, at some point, we need to cash it in. I mean, one of the things that really pains the injustice, that pains me, is that people who the Germans murdered, they've been compensated. The whole world owes them something. 5 to 10 million Yoruba young people were transported to the Americas. More than half of them died on the way. And then when they got to America, they were treated as if they were worse than farm animals. And yet, we are a footnote in history. And we have leaders. Our sweat, our muscle. Yet, these people will be pointing finger to us and saying, oh, these poor people, you want to migrate to their country, they treat you as if you're a beggar, you're this. When we, our sweat, our blood, our muscle built America, built the United Kingdom. And yet we have people who are supposed to be educated. We have all these politicians. None of them is intelligent enough to ask the sort of questions that we are asking. Not one of them is intelligent enough to ask any question. They just go around like mumu, just so stupid. And these are the people who are representing you. These are educated people, people who call themselves intelligent. I mean, you look at it. when the Yugoslav people or the Soviet republics wanted to go, they had support from Europe. They want to go, yes. You try it as an African country that you as a people, then they start telling you what is the definition of people. And some of our intellectuals are so idiotic, so stupid, that they are engaging in this stupidity, say, defining people. So you want to tell me you lack enough intelligence to know that the Yoruba are a people? That you have to be telling us some kind of definition? These are our intellectuals. You go and read the papers they write. So stupid. They'll be telling they'll be interpreting the UN resolution in some kind of idiotic, stupid, And these are our intellectuals. I'm talking about our intellectuals. You read the papers they write, and you ask yourself, where have these people left their brains? The sort of fight we are trying to fight now, hopefully, with a political party, when it's established and people take over from old guys like me, they will use it to fight for the rights of not just of the Yoruba people in the UK, but the rights of Yoruba people worldwide. Because again, I refer to the Jews. It doesn't matter in which country. Nobody trifles with them. Nobody trifles with them. Because they have a sense of history, they have a sense of belonging. I mean, the other day, one of the people here was arguing that the slavery did not have any effect on the economy of the UK. So you are telling me these people spent 400 years doing something that was of no benefit to them. So they were doing it, they were enslaving us, taking us to America as slaves for charity purposes. I mean, you have to be a stupid person to make that statement. That for 400 years, these people were engaged in this slavery practice that has no benefit for them at all. They were just doing it for what? They are doing it to help us. It's really very irritating. And, this is the sort of thing that I hope, when the idea of a party came to us, this sort of thing we hope that this sort of political organization will be able to deal with. Thank you.
Thank you, Daddy. Before we hand over to our mommy, Abike, I can see now that she's back. Please, I have a small and little question.
Okay.
When the current administration are celebrating the first year in the office, and they return to our former national item,
Nigeria we hail thee.
Nigeria we hail thee. Now, I heard that the president has mandated the Congress to debate that Nigeria should go back to the regions, like old region, western region, eastern region, northern region. If eventually, because I was told that they told them that before October 1st, they must respond and they must work on it. If eventually, sir, Nigeria return back to the regions, is there not going to be a clash on this new party that we are forming and the new regions?
We don't want to be in Nigeria. They can do whatever it is they like.
But this
who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We don't want. We are better on our own. We don't. Why do you want to be part of Nigeria? One thing I used to ask
but we
the people I talk
somewhere, sir. If they give western region,
I want to go. I don't want any region. I don't want to be part of Nigeria. one of the things I asked the
Baba, let me help. Baba, let me come in, please.
The people that I call Nigerianistas, I used to ask them this question: what does Nigeria offer you that Yoruba land will not offer you? Just give me one thing. What is it that Nigeria will offer you and Yoruba land cannot offer you? Just one thing. There's nothing. Many countries in the UN have population less than my hometown.
You're right.
Less than my hometown. Nigeria, again, another thing that I say that since this is multi-faith, you might actually believe in what I'm saying, is that Ọlọ́run fún rẹ̀ ló gbé omi síbẹ̀ to separate us from them. The good Lord put River Niger to separate us from these barbarians. Why would we want to live with people who think that they can use their cows to destroy our farm? That think that they can rape our women? Lie. I can never, ever subscribe to Nigeria. Never. You can't have a situation where these barbarians, people whose brain is still in the 15th century, we say we want to live with them. I mean, I'm not surprised that Tinubu is going down this path. Actually, funny enough, I wrote to Tinubu when he became president. In my letter, I said that the 1999 Constitution is illegal. And it was illegal because the 1963 Constitution made it illegal. Because the 1963 Constitution is specific that you cannot change that Constitution at all without the Parliament agreeing to it. And since the 1966 coup, we haven't had any Parliament that could take that decision. What the politicians are doing, the same inbreeding, the same people are going to now say, oh, well, we've got regions now, we go back and go and be stealing money in the region. Lie. We are going. We've had enough. If you look at we Yoruba, we are actually the most unique Africans you can find.
You're right, sir.
We're the most unique Africans you can find. Just imagine it. They took the Yoruba to America to flog them, to beat them up, to do it, and still they are practicing the Yoruba culture. Despite 100 years of being downtrodden, treated badly, whatever, they are still practicing Yoruba religion, Yoruba culture.
Oyotunji in America.
That tells you how strong the Yoruba civilization is. When I talk to, sometimes, I have this debate with people. When I say, oh, well, the Yoruba mythology says that we were present at the dawn of creation. That Obatala came from heaven, there was water wall, he spread sand, and there you are, created the earth. And people start arguing. Arguing about what? What is the evidence that we weren't present at the beginning? What is the evidence that anybody else was present but not us? And now we actually have scientific evidence to show that people have existed in Yoruba land before the Neanderthal man. We have scientific evidence that the world started as water world. So for the Yoruba myth to say that at the beginning the world was water, they had to have been present at the beginning. To say that the world began as water world, and there is now scientific evidence to support that theory that the world began as water. And then Obatala came down and spread the earth. There are so many things about us Yoruba that it is very sad that most of us know nothing about it. The many things about the Yoruba culture, the Yoruba tradition, even our language. That everything is nearly. That's one of the reasons why we need to be on our own, so that at least we can retain our identity. Not though tribe and tongue may differ. Anyway, any more questions?
Mami Abike, are you available now?
Ẹ ṣé gan sir, ẹ ṣé adúpẹ́. Thank you sir for attending our meeting tonight. Adúpẹ́
That's
lọ́wọ́
fine.
yín.
That's fine.
Mo tọrọ àforíyìn pé mo ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wọlé ni mi ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ wá. Ẹ ṣé gan ni.
That's fine.
Àwọn ìbéèrè tí mo ti rí kà lórí pé the first one ni wọ́n béèrè pé that you written to President Tinubu since he became the president, pé ǹjẹ́ ó tẹ̀ dá yín lóhùn lẹ́tà tẹ́ kọ sí? That's
No.
number one.
No,
Okay,
he
sir.
didn't respond.
Okay, sir. So, question tèmi fẹ́ bèrè lọ́wọ́ yín ni sá yí pé ẹni Yorùbá party tí à ń ṣe ní ti UK yìí pé it's mainly for àwọn èèyàn tó wà ní UK náà. Bàbá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ yí pé ṣé àwọn other places náà ní all over the world ṣé àwọn náà máa wà involved, pé ẹ̀dẹ̀ ìdáṣọ́ wa pé it will be better náà káwọn náà wà involved. Pé mi wá rò wípé ǹjẹ́ rò pé àwọn èèyàn wa nílé gan kò yẹ ká involve wọn, because our people that are overseas abroad, most of them have even lost it. They are not even interested in Yoruba whatever, because wọ́n ti kúrò nílé for so long. They naturalize gbogbo ìyà táwọn èèyàn wá ń jẹ nílé. They are not really feeling it. Otherwise kò yẹ kí ìyà kó jẹ wá dé level yìí, because they should have supported our movement, our agitation ages ago. Not everybody will be somebody like you tí ẹ ti ṣe takuntakun láti ìgbà yìí wá. Pé jẹ́ pípa àwọn people tó ti wà níbí for so long pẹ̀lú family wọn, all of them tí wọ́n ti ṣe politics náà, that are overseas. Are we going to need tó fi máa lè láà tàbí máa ní big voice for this movement, sir?
Yeah, but I mean, you have to start from somewhere. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. I think if our political party becomes successful, it will be a different kettle of fish. People will then rally around us. I mean, I have been in the UK for 5 decades. I've been here a long time. I have children here. I have grandchildren here. So I am also part of this people, this lost generation that is here. But I may be physically lost. I'm not intellectually lost. And I sincerely believe that when we start showing that we can make a difference, the attitude will change. I mean, there are so many reasons why we Yoruba are docile. I actually gave a talk somewhere about that a while ago. Why we have this docile sort of nature, as it were. And I think that if this party can provide some leadership, I think a lot of people will change their minds. I mean, in this country, for example, people who are Labour or Conservatives, when you talk to them, they will say, "Oh, I'm Labour, I'm Conservative," but these parties haven't done anything for you. I mean, the parties that you are touting, you are saying you are Labour or you are Conservative, what have they ever done for you? Nothing. I mean, you belong to Conservatives who are going to send people to Uganda, to Rwanda. I mean, There is no reason for any of us to support the same party where in 1968, Powell was saying rivers of blood. That is, because we are here, there's going to be conflagration in the streets. This same country where they brought in people from West Indies to do their work in the Windrush generation, they are now trying to deport them. People who spend their lives working in the National Health Service, driving the buses in London, when people in this country didn't want those jobs. They are now trying to send them back. And then you are saying you are a member of that, you are proudly saying you are a member of that party. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. I would rather not be a member of a political party than be a member of Labour Party or a member of Conservative Party. Because these are the same people who not only did they enslave us, they've made our lives miserable.
Very, very.
So next, So have you got more questions? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Before I go to our people on the YouTube àti ní resume, ẹ jẹ́ kí a pèjì àwọn tó ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Mo kí màmá wa ní Ìníọlá, bá wa like àwọn bá wa lọ bá wa share, wọn la kó ètò. Mo rí bàbá Wọlá Yẹrí Fàtáì, wọn ní a kó ètò iṣẹ́ takuntakun. Mo rí màmá Modúpẹ́ Làwá ní bàbá bá ṣe gùn pé you are on the point. Ẹ ṣé màmá. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni mo tún rí màmá wa ẹsẹ̀ Awóníyì, wọ́n ní a kó ètò sà. Ṣé màá rí màmá wa Modúpẹ́ Èkó, àwọn náà bá wa like, bá wa love, wọ́n ní a kó ètò. Mo ní màmá wa Jímọ̀ Tóyìn, wọ́n ní a kó ètò. Ọlọ́run yóò wà pẹ̀lú gbogbo wa o. Àmín.
Àmín.
Rí màmá wa Gàníyàt Àjàyí, àwọn náà ní Olúwa fún wa ṣe o. Àmín Elédùmarè. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa, ẹ bá wa pè wọlé tí ẹ bá ní ìbéèrè àti tẹ́ bá ní àfikún kan àbí méjì sí ètò ti alẹ́ yìí. Ẹ ṣé o, bàbá mi tó mo fà á padà sọ́dọ̀ yín. Ẹ ṣé.
On mute, sir. Àgbọ̀yìn.
Àgbọ̀yìn o.
I haven't been asked any questions. That's why I haven't said anything.
No, bàbá mẹ́tò ni wọ́n ń sọ̀rọ̀.
Oh, okay.
Mo mí ìtara mi, okay, ẹ ṣé gan. Èmi náà dúpẹ́ ni pé ẹ ṣé pé ẹ fún mi ní chance. Mo máa ń kí àwọn èèyàn wa tán wà ní YouTube àtàn gbọ́ gbogbo n tá à ń sọ yìí. Nígbà tí bàbá Ọlátúnjà ń béèrè ìbéèrè kan lẹ́ẹ̀kan, mo fẹ́ kọ́ mi. Dó ẹ ti yàn náà. The essence pé a fẹ́ lọ. Regardless of what Yorùbá are doing now, mo mean in Nigeria are doing. Wọ́n padà sófin o. Mission wa ni pé we want to be our own self-reliant. So tá bá dẹ̀ lè ṣe yẹn, whatever happens, ó happen. Ní nítorí pé wọ́n ti research àbí wọ́n ti dá sí regional something. Ká má ṣe tó yẹ ká ṣe. In fact, tó yẹ ká máa lé gan ni pé kí wọ́n má tún ní ọ̀n bọ̀ wá. Then bottom line tí ó yẹ kí bàbá wà wíwà ni pé omi bàbá Ọlátúnjà. Ẹ rí i pé àwọn tán dà wá pọ̀ pẹ̀lú wọn yìí, wọ́n ń pa wá ni. Ilẹ̀ wa dẹ̀ náà fẹ́ gbà. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ń follow pé Usman Dafodio ní àwọn náà ní Nàìjíríà. And that's what they are working towards. Tẹ́ bá wo kí ni ọmọ bàbá tẹ̀ǹtẹ̀ tó ń sọ pa wọ́n yí pààyàn kan as of yesterday. Kò jẹ́ kẹ́jẹ́ hàn bí tó ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀yẹn but wọ́n pa bọ̀bọ́ yẹn, wọ́n lọ dúnbú ẹ̀ ni nítorí pé ó fi májèlé sórí oko ẹ̀. Àwọn onímàálù yẹn dẹ̀ wọ́n lọ pa bọ̀bọ́ yẹn. So ìyẹn náà dẹ̀ continue láti máa ṣe, wọ́n eliminate wa ni. Níbi tó bá ti téèyàn mẹ́wàá ń gbé, tán sọ di 9, tó bá yá tó sọ di iye kan. Tó bá pa gbogbo àwa bọ́ sórí ilẹ̀ pé yes, ilẹ̀ wọn ni. Mission wọn nìyẹn and they are working towards it every damn day. But tá a bá wà pẹ̀lú ra wá sìn, irú ẹni tán fi so lórí ọlọ́pàá, ó ní àti ripe láti ní state police. Ńgbà la fẹ́ ripe, ṣé tán bá pa á tán la tó máa ní state police ni. We should have right to defend ourselves. Whatever we can do, tó yẹ ká ṣe, ká gbára lọ́wọ́ wọn. Ká má wò pé bóyá Tinubu ṣe tó dáa, kó máa ṣe tó wù lọ. I mean, I am not interested in it. I am for Yorùbá nation. Ká dá wà, ká máa ṣèjọba ara wa. But tó bá ṣe yẹn, ó máa help pé okay ó ti scatter ìlú bó ṣe kó yẹ. Ọlọ́run ṣe pín ẹ̀rí pé bàbá sọ. Ọlọ́run fomi pín wa ní North and South, River Niger and Benue. ó split wá sí mẹ́ta, you know. So let kọ́lọ́múdọ́mù yá ìgbé, we should be working towards that. Àdúrà wa dẹ̀ ní ẹni mortal faith. And again, ẹ ṣé bàbá, because political science sọ yìí, àwọn tó wà ní UK, when they see things that are going, I hope they will be joining. It's just forming a party. And somebody who are interested in party, they should be able to join. But the fear the better. Tell everybody, don't feel discouraged. I know you are not discouraged anyway. Whoever you see to join. Cardin UK lèmi wà ní. I will be your running mate. You know, but no, simple. So definitely, bàbá náà bá lè rí ẹsẹ̀ ń bí. Why not? Káwa náà ní Yorùbá party ń bí báyìí. A lè jọ máa take a decision ni. Ní US báyìí, agbálẹ̀ ó wà náà tó take decision making. So bá a lè fa sọ̀rọ̀ pé nǹkan ṣe kò ṣe. Tán nílé defend ara wọn. Wọ́n àdẹ ní kán gbẹnu sọ̀rọ̀. This is what we need. It's a bold movement. But yes, Yoruba wants to have a party, and you are having it already. I wish you the best of luck, sir. Don't get discouraged with anything.
Lie. I mean, I have survived. Ìjẹ̀ṣàlàwà, Ìjẹ̀ṣàman does not get discouraged.
So I may relocate to UK to join.
There's a caller.
Okay, caller, go ahead.
Yeah, bones okay, mami.
Báṣẹ̀gùn.
Ẹ káalẹ́ o.
Báṣẹ̀gùn.
Wọ́n gbọ́ yín.
Mo kí yín o.
Ẹ káalẹ́ o.
Kí Flower kí yín o, ìyá ìwé mo kí yín o.
Ẹ káalẹ́ o.
Mo ti fẹ́ pè yín náà láti ẹjọ́ yìí, one thing or the other.
Kí ni ìbéèrè yín, màmá?
Ṣé rí àkọ́kọ́? Àwọn Haúsá wọn làwọn fẹ́ kúrò ní Nàìjíríà. Àwa Yorùbá la fẹ́ kúrò ní Nàìjíríà, Ìgbò náà làwọn fẹ́ kúrò ní Nàìjíríà. Èmi rò pé àwọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta yìí ló wà ní Senate House ilé aṣòfin. Kí wá ló wá ń dá wọn dúró láti wípé kí gbogbo wọn pẹnu pọ̀ nílùú níbi tó wà yẹn? Láti sọ wípé ókè o, àwọn Fúlàní lòun fẹ́, àmì sọ́ọ̀rì náà fún àwọn Haúsá lòun fẹ́ lọ, Ìgbò lòun fẹ́ lọ, Yorùbá lòun fẹ́ lọ. Kọ́dẹ̀ kúkú jíjọ kọ́ ṣe ìpàdé ń bẹ̀, kọ́dẹ̀ korí kọ́dẹ̀ kọ́ sọmọ́dé máa yanjú ẹ̀. Kí ló yẹ kó tún jọ dá wọn dúró?
Politics.
Kí ló yẹ kó dá wọn dúró ńgbà tí wọ́n ti agree pé táwọn wọn jẹ kí ìwé ló tún jẹ́rìí kíní kan restructuring tó tún lọ ń ṣe ní ìsìn báyìí. Ìyẹn ni mo ní kí n bí yàn ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kínní nìyẹn, then ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì ó ní wípé àwọn kíní petition tẹ́ ń ṣe wọ̀nyẹn, mo kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ fún wa ní brief nípa outcome wọn.
Okay.
Now those are the two things mo fẹ́ sọ sà.
Okay, ẹ ṣé gan ni.
Ẹ ṣé màmá.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí n bẹ̀rẹ̀ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ restructuring. I suspect that the reason why Tinubu and his advisors are going the way they are going now is because they don't want Nigeria to break up, because they suspect that the country is going to break up, and therefore what they could do is to say, okay, Konika Luku region Komashiti. But let's put that aside. A while ago, I on a program, I was talking about the emancipation of. The point that I was making there was this, that if the Yoruba Oba and Obawa, if they came together like their forefathers did in 1931 and decided that Yoruba nation was going, nobody can stop them. But they are too timid. That's the problem. And it's very painful for somebody like me who is a traditionalist. And I'm a monarchist. I believe in the monarchy system of the Yoruba. I'm Bashegun. Bashegun Alabe. That's his chieftaincy title. And I've proudly been displaying it since I was made a chief. My patients, know me as a chieftain. because I'm a monarchist. And nǹkan tó tàyàn lára ni pé we have our obas, wọn lè jókòó kan sọ pé look, enough is enough, we are going. If a handful of obas, tó bá jẹ́ even a handful of them decide that ó ti parí nìyẹn and they declare the emancipation of Yorùbá nation, kò sí nǹkan kan tó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wọn. So that is a possibility that I've said for quite some time now, that the Obas themselves, they could do this. But instead they are squabbling about themselves. They are saying, I'm a senior Oba, you are junior Oba. In Yoruba land, there is no senior Oba or no junior Oba, because Yoruba land was a collective of city-states, a collective of independent city-states. So any Oba tó bá sọ pé òun jẹ́ olórí Ọba kan, irọ́ ló pa. It's not in Yoruba history. It's not in Yoruba tradition that one Oba is on top, is ahead of another. Because Yoruba, the Yoruba Empire, the Yoruba nation was comprised of city-states. So that Ibadan had its own Oba, ruled itself, and then semi-autonomous. So it's Ijebu-Ode, so it's Ondo, so it's Warri, so it's Abeokuta. That's why they had their own Oba, their own ruler. So the idea that there's some kind of Oba is bigger than Oba is bullshit, is rubbish. So they are busy squabbling over this nonsense of who is the senior Oba, who is the junior Oba. Meanwhile, these people are killing, they're coming, they're using their cattle to destroy our farms, so that people don't go to the farm anymore. That's why that's why people are starving, because they can't go to the farm anymore. That's why the price of rice is up, or the price of yam is up. I mean, people like us who even have farming in Nigeria, you can't get anybody to do the farm for you anymore. So from my point of view, I have no interest in restructuring or not restructuring. The reason why I wrote to Tinubu was because I was saying that the government of Nigeria under the 1999 Fulani Constitution, all of them have been illegitimate. All of them. Because the only constitutional law that Nigeria has today is the 1963 Constitution. Because it was a legislated constitution. In fact, the three houses of assembly approved, because in those days the federal government was not so powerful. The three premiers agreed for the 1963 Constitution. So that now the question of petition, the petition that I published that people are signing for the UN is still ongoing. It's not ended, because the plan that I have, and I have actually written the application to the UN. In fact, I think I've gone up to about 100 pages. But this has now superseded it. The fact that we now have a political party has superseded the application that I was writing, because I want to see how far we can go with this party first. But the petition is still ongoing. It hasn't ended. I'm now pursuing 15,000 signatories. We've got about 12,000 now. So I'm looking for it to get to 15,000. Does that answer your question?
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá. Dúpẹ́ gan ni, ọpọlọ yóò ní dọ́bà. Ẹ ṣeun. Mo rí ìbéèrè kan lórí platform. Wọ́n ní pé ǹjẹ́ àwọn èèyàn wa tán wà ní political post ní UK, ǹjẹ́ ẹ ti fi ọ̀rọ̀ yìí náà tó wọn létí, whether you are working with our people in the political power in UK, like àwọn councillor, I can remember councillor Sonny Lambe, tó wà ní borough of things.
Yes, I know him because we're in the same forum.
Yeah.
And in fact, he's deputy mayor now.
He's now a deputy mayor now.
Yes, yes. The thing that they all say is that they cannot wear two hats. They cannot serve two masters. And I think, to be political, I will leave it at that. I don't agree with it. Because, as I said before, I cannot see what Labour or the Tories have done for us. I don't see it. We have to fight for ourselves. I'll give you an example. When I first came to this country, there were different medical registers. Two for overseas doctors. So they separated us in one register from those who graduated in the UK. From those who graduated, so if you graduated in South Africa, if you graduated in New Zealand, you are part of the home register. It changed because I got elected to the GMC, because one of the things into the General Medical Council, and one of the first things that I said to the council was that when a patient comes to see me, the patient doesn't ask where I graduated. No. He has a problem. He has a man who can solve his problem. That's it. It doesn't give a toss about the silly registrar and in the end, the registers were merged, so there is only one register. But that came about because we were at the decision-making table. You may be a minority at the decision-making table, but once you are there, you can influence things. When you are not there, you can't influence anything. But when you are at the table, when you are at the decision-making table, you may be a lone voice, but if you shout loud enough, you will be heard.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Let's see. Ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa, àyè ti wà fún ìbéèrè o. Bá wa dá sí ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń lọ o.
Àwa ti náwó sókè o.
Kò dé. Okay. Ẹ jẹun. Bàbá oyè ní yóò yẹ gbóhùn sókè sà. Ẹ ọ̀gbun tara yín kẹ. Lọ wá gbóhùn sókè. Ẹ ṣé.
Ẹ kálẹ́, ẹ̀yin màmá yín bàbá mi àpérò.
Ẹ kálẹ́
Àdúrà
sà.
wọ́gbà. Olùgbàdúrà kò ní gbé ọ̀dàlẹ̀. Ẹ dákun, ṣé ìbéèrè mi àkọ́kọ́ àbọ̀rọ̀ mi àkọ́kọ́ tí mo fẹ́ sọ. Bí làákàyè mi tí mo ti fẹ́ gbé kalẹ̀ yìí o, ẹ bá mi ṣàtúnṣe ibẹ̀. Ìgbà táwọn kékeré táwọn ní sùkúù, wọ́n ní ká má sọ fànákúlà. Tá a bá sọ fànákúlà, á jẹ gba. Bàbá ẹ kú ètò. Lọ́dọ̀ tàwa nísìn òyìnbó ti di fànákúlà. A fẹ́ gbóyìnbó mọ́ lórí ètò, ẹ má bínú sà o. Ẹ dákun ẹ bá ṣàtúnṣe ibẹ̀ yẹn sà. Torí pé ní òyìnbó Yorùbá fànákúlà tán ní ká má sọ mọ́ lọ́jọ́ wọn àná. Àwọn náà ti wá ń kọ́ ní ìsìn. Kódà wọ́n ti ń dáfá, wọ́n ti ń lu gángan. Ẹ dákun bàbá, ẹ pẹ́ fún wa pẹ̀lú ògo Ọlọ́run. Wọ́n ti fẹ́ pààrọ̀ Yorùbá rẹ́, kò dẹ̀ sí tí wọ́n fẹ́ parẹ́, èdè wa ni. So afẹ́ kéde kó túbọ̀ fìdí múlẹ̀. Ẹ má bínú bàbá, ẹ dákun ẹ bá ṣàtúnṣe ibẹ̀. Kí Yorùbá kó mọ kárí ètò wa délẹ̀, ẹ pẹ́ fún wa. Ẹ̀kejì ń bẹ, ẹgbẹ́ Yorùbá tẹ́ ẹ dá sílẹ̀ yìí, Ọlọ́run ó pín yín lọ́wọ́ pẹ̀lú ògo, lẹ́sìn pẹ́ fún wa. Ọpọlọ yín ò ní júbà. Ṣé ẹ rí ẹnìkan ò kí ń jẹ́ àwádé, ọ̀pọ̀ èèyàn ní jẹ́ jànmọ́. Tí èèyàn bá ń ṣèlú, àfi kí èèyàn sì pẹ̀lẹ́pẹ̀lẹ́. Torí ẹgbẹ́ Yorùbá lẹ dá sílẹ̀, àfi kẹ́ ẹ pa àwọn kan mọ́ra náà kí ẹjọ́ mọ́ tukọ̀ náà. Ọlọ́run fún yín lógo Ọlọ́run o, ní agbára Ọlọ́run.
ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tẹ́ ń jà fún láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà yóò bọ̀ sí pẹ̀lú ògo Ọlọ́run. Ní ẹni tó ń bẹ̀, bàbá wa tó jẹ́ president wa lónìí, bí làákàyè mi ṣe mọ níṣègbè kalẹ̀ torí pé ilé la wà, àwọn iṣẹ́ kan bẹ́ẹ̀ pé ń ṣe òdodo, ebi ń pa wá, ebi ń pa àwọn èèyàn ká mọ́ parọ́. Kódà mo wá gbàgbọ́ pé à ń gbààwẹ̀ ni. Ebi ń pa Hausa náà, ebi ń pa Fúlàní, àwọn pariwo ebi o, ariwo agbára ni wọ́n ń pa. Ó ti gbé agbára kúrò lọ́dọ̀ àwọn. So lẹ́yìn pé ebi ń pa wá yẹn sà, tí ẹ mọ̀ tá a bá kú tá a lọ sí region díẹ̀díẹ̀ náà níjọ́ tá a bá gùnkẹ́ náà kọ́ là á kọ̀run. Àwọn kan ò ní gbà, àwọn Fúlàní ti láwọn ò gbà, àwọn Hausa láwọn gbà, àwọn Fúlàní láwọn ò gbà. So fún ìdí èyí bàbá, ẹ dákun, Ọlọ́run ó kún yín lọ́wọ́. Ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ bí kó ìwọ tá à ń bá náà ṣe díẹ̀díẹ̀ òun, at least àti ń lọ síbì kan. Tá a bá tiẹ̀ padà sí region, ọlọ́mọdọ̀mù yẹ́ gbé tí ẹ bá láwọn ọ̀fẹ́ á túká. Oòduà á gbé wa, kò ní gbé ọ̀dàlẹ̀. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ bàbá, ẹ pẹ́ fún wa.
Ok, ẹ ṣé gan. Kí n kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ pé ká máa sọ Yorùbá. I have spent more of my life in this country than I spent in Nigeria. So ẹ láti dáríjì mí ni. Because there is nothing I can do about it. I have spent what, 2/3 of my life in this country, or 3/4 in this country. And most of my patients are English. I live amongst them. So the idea pé Bayi máa sọ Yorùbá tó máa dùn, it's too late. I've reached an age in my life that is just impossible now. The last investor was about restructuring. Pé ká máa ṣe díẹ̀díẹ̀. Nigeria has been in existence for over 100 years. It has not benefited the Yoruba people. Nigeria has been I'll repeat that. Nigeria has been in existence for more than 100 years. And it has never benefited us. You are now asking us to stay a while longer. On what basis? What exactly is Nigeria going to do for the Yoruba land that will make us want to stay in Nigeria? What?
We'll see.
There's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing that Nigeria offers us that we cannot have on our own. And then you said that our Fulani Ogba, what are they going to do? Well, even those people like me who are pacifists, I know that if there is civil war today, they cannot win. It's because we are docile. It's because we are docile. They can't. I tell the Biafra people, if it wasn't for the Yoruba, we defeated them. It was the Yoruba that defeated Biafra. And I can say that because I was there. I was one of those who volunteered as a teenager. I volunteered to go to Biafra to go and feed refugees. So had the opportunity of seeing what the 3rd Marine Commando did under the Black Scorpion. This is how Nigeria is. And to liberate it, to create, made it possible for Nigeria to remain one. It's not a hero. It's not sung. Airport, Muritala Mohammed Adekunle, who liberated most of Biafra. Even as a teenager, we could see what this man was doing. All those Gbogbo Calabar, I want to liberate Gbogbo. So, from my point of view, there is nothing that Nigeria offers us that will make us remain. We have been there for over 100 years, and it hasn't done us any good. So why would you want to keep on doing, there's another thing that I used to say, that if you are on the wrong road, it does not matter how long you are on that road, you are still on the wrong road. It doesn't matter how long. Once you are on the wrong road, keep going. It doesn't lead anywhere. We've tried Nigeria. We have tried Nigeria. You've tried parliamentary government. It didn't work. You've tried presidential. It hasn't worked. I was listening to Bayi or something. The guy was reinstated to the Emir of Kano, who was talking about the NNPC. That this.
Where's the dollar?
They don't know how many barrels of oil is leaving Nigeria. They have no idea. They don't know how much they have sold. That is the country you want us to remain in? People, àwọn èèyàn ò lè jẹun, ẹ̀yin ra SUV. These are the people you want us to remain with? I think the time for Nigeria is gone. The sentiment, we need to forget the sentiment completely. I was never anti-Nigeria until 2010-20. That was NSAS. When I watched it on television, that soldiers were shooting guns at people who are demonstrating unarmed. It told me then that these people are so barbaric. And even the soldiers themselves, you are a trained professional, trained to fight a war. You are looking at defenseless people and you are shooting at them to kill them. You're professional soldiers. You are not at war. You are shooting at live bullets and killing people who are not responding to you. And that's the country you want to be. They are doing exactly what the British were doing when they were, when they were killing about women. Women who are protesting in the 1930s, 1940s or something, are shooting at defenseless women. You're still doing it in 2020. You don't want to live in a barbaric country. And that's the point. That in Nigeria, there's so much, some people in Nigeria are so backward. They are so backward. I mean, how can you live in a country where they will go to a school to abduct school children? They go to a school. Àwa Yorùbá, ọmọ wa, ó ń jọ wá lójú. Àwọn eléyìí, they don't care about their children. They have the children to them are just like, I don't know.
Chicken.
That is why you will then ask your son to be trekking miles with the cows. How long is he going to ever be anything if all your young people are following cows everywhere? And you want us to be in the same country with them? I'm sorry, I don't agree. I don't agree at all. I think we should go our own separate ways. We have tried 100 years, it hasn't worked. Let us go our own separate ways and we can be friends. We can have embassies in each other's countries.
Yeah.
We can have, I don't know, like ECOWAS. We will all be in ECOWAS.
Yeah.
But please, it's time to go. Please, it's time to go.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá. There's another caller. Ṣeun. Okay, ẹ gbóhùn sókè. Ó yẹ bèrè yín ìyá ìwé.
Ṣé wọ́n ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́nà àbí?
Ẹ bèrè yín ìyá ìwé.
Okay. Ẹ kú ètò bámẹ́tò àti bàṣẹ́gun
Thank you.
Pastor Amos, kí gbogbo yín o. Another thing tí mo kàn tún fẹ́ ṣàkíyèsí wá sí ni ọ̀rọ̀ President Tinubu. Ó ń try láti wí pé kí wọ́n scrap ní 1999 constitution yẹn. Láti wí pé kí àwọn kan gbé yẹ̀wò kan tó review and so on. And I think he's now trying to conclude pé bóyá kó dá gbogbo gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì Nàìjíríà pé kó dá system yẹn, the system padà sí 1963 bó ṣe wà tẹ́lẹ̀. You know, he's trying to do that. And I think that is why he's trying to make them to be, singing the national anthem tí wọ́n kọ nígbà yẹn. Èmi kàn rò bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé maybe that is one of the reasons tó fi sọ pé kó máa kọ Nàìjíríà wéèzì àójà don't try and don't make Ifá in
brotherhood we stand.
The national anthem yẹn padà sí original náà, and then probably in a way to dá gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣáà padà sí bí gbogbo nǹkan ṣe wà tẹ́lẹ̀. I think that, like you rightly said, ó try láti wà diplomatic ni, wípé láti pé kí kàkà kí kíní yẹn kúkú oníkálukú máa lọ́lẹ̀ pé kóun kú ṣe ní kóun kú like regionalize it or structure it kind of wípé kíní. But èmi kàn fẹ́ sọ ni wípé mo rò pé tìtorí yẹn ló ṣe ń sọ wípé kọ́ máa kọ́kọ́ dá national anthem yẹn padà sí pre-military regime bí wọ́n bá ṣe ń kọ́ tẹ́lẹ̀ nígbà yẹn náà lọ́hùn. Òyìn náà ni mo kàn ní pé kí n ṣàkíyèsí wá sí. Ẹ ṣé sà.
Thank you very much.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá, a dúpẹ́ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ tí a pè yín tí ẹ jẹ́ wa, torí a kò rí ọjọ́ sógún solókùn. Bàbá Bámitò àti bàbá Ọlátújà, mo fà sí bá wa.
Èmi fi pé bí bó ṣe jẹ́ pé ọjọ́ ń lọ, wàá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn bàbá wa ni fún àwọn ìdálẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tán dá wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ yìí àti gbogbo ohun tá a gbọ́. Mo mọ̀ pé bó ṣe nǹkan kan àrídì.
Ẹ má bínú Bámitò, there is another caller. Ẹ má bínú. Mọ́mì, sorry, ẹ má bínú. Ẹ gbóhùn sókè, wọ́n ń gbọ́ yín mà.
Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò. Ó dẹ̀ fún àwọn atukọ̀ ètò bàbá Mẹ́tò àti ìyá Àbíkẹ́ àti pásítọ̀ Ọlátújà. Mrs. Paget ló sọ̀rọ̀.
Yes, ma.
And like you said, we cannot be doing the same thing and expect different results. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe sọ, ẹ ní àwọn sójà yẹn are trained.
À ń gbọ́ yín mà.
The soldiers are not trained, maybe few of them, and those few of them are not on the field. But those who are on the field are ex-Boko Haram. So what do you expect from them? I bet anything also. They are ex-Boko Haram. So I won't accept that the fact that they are trained. And then these people we're talking about, sleeping with cows is their culture. We just don't want to be associated with them. We just need to get out as fast as we can.
Yeah. Correct.
Thank you.
We don't want them as neighbors. Only show me your friend and I know the type of person you are.
Yes.
But you just want to get out as fast as you can.
Amir. Eshigon, thank you very much.
Eshema.
Eshema. Thank you.
Can I go ahead now?
Yes, sir. Over to you, sir.
Ọpẹ́ ni máa dúró lọ́wọ́ àwọn bàbá wa. ẹ má jẹ́ kọ́rọ̀ wá sún yín o possible ká tún gbé wá another time tẹ́ bá tún wà less busy so adúpẹ́ gan ni fún gbogbo tẹ́ ẹ ṣe fún wa kò ní rẹ̀ ṣe more blessing ẹ jọ mi tó ránṣẹ́ ọ̀ but ó dà pé brother yín wọlé òní tẹ́ bá lè bá link pẹ̀lú wọn we want him around here too please tó bá ẹ lè tí wọn fẹ́ bọ̀ kẹ́ bá send number sí mama Abike a lè contact wọn na mo kí gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa tán wà ní behind the scene ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní Zoom àti YouTube more blessing o ẹ má bínú pé wọ́tò wá pọ̀ díẹ̀ but mo rò pé for at least 1 point ẹlòmíràn àrígbọ́nú wa a rí nǹkan tí a lè múlò nínú ẹ̀ ẹnu ọpẹ́ wa ò ní kan o a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí a dẹ̀ dúpẹ́ lọ gbogbo iná bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe wá jọ́ mẹ́jọ ni ẹsẹ̀ wọ̀ níyẹ̀ lágbára Ọlọ́run ìpàdé wa a máa dùn bí oyin ni a máa rí nǹkan rere bára sọ àdúrà wọ ọyọ ojoojúmọ́ làdúrà ní Montapet so a dẹ̀ ní àdúrà kan tó ń bọ̀ ní Thursday yìí ìyẹn ní ìṣòru just 6 hours péré ni aago 12 nílẹ̀ Yorùbá títí di aago 6 àdájí the same thing ní UK ó dẹ̀ máa jẹ́ aago 6 tí wọ́n ń rọ̀lẹ́ ń bí ní New York sí aago 12 alẹ́ á jẹ́ aago 5 wọn ní Texas sí 11 o'clock ní Central Time á dẹ̀ jẹ́ bí aago 4 sí aago 10 Ọlọ́run á gbà fún wa ẹ ṣé gan ni bàbá Ọlátúnjà àdúpẹ́ thanks for coming and thanks for the stuff màmá náà ẹ kúṣẹ́ gan ẹ kúṣẹ́ ribiribi o more blessing kò ní rẹ̀ wá kò ní sú wa o ẹ ṣé gan mo rò pé ẹ lè bá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn èèyàn wa kí ká mú pàdé wá só.
ẹ ṣeun dádì a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn bàbá wa náà tí a pè tí wọ́n jẹ́ wa Olúwa pọ́n yín lé san o orílẹ̀-èdè UK tẹ́wà náà á tù yín lára gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ ti ń bẹ̀ ẹ ṣe púpọ̀ pé out of no time ẹ tún create time Olúwa túbọ̀ máa fagbára kún yín o gbogbo ẹ̀yin èèyàn wa tó wà yọ ṣe náà ni a dúpẹ́ fún àtìlẹ́yìn ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan máa love ká mọ̀ share olùwàrànwá a máa gbà padà Liberty Stadium wa a máa gbà padà láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà wa tó bókú ní Ọlọ́run ilẹ̀ lérí o ẹ ṣé o a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí Amos Ọlátúnjí ẹ ṣé.
ó yá tálára bá ti ń gbọ́ kó sọ fàjẹrò tájẹrò bá ti ń gbọ́ kó tàtàpọ̀ ẹ̀sọ́ tí ọwọ́ àràǹgún àga bọ́rọ̀ tó gbòde ti gbẹ̀rẹ̀gẹ̀jigẹ̀ lórí afẹ́fẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tó gbòde. ó yá tálára bá ti ń gbọ́ kó sọ fàjẹrò tájẹrò bá ti ń gbọ́ kó tàtàpọ̀ ẹ̀sọ́ tí ọwọ́ àràǹgún àga.
tó ń bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n. àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ni.
Yorùbá. nínú èdè wa ló ti jẹyọ wípé tá a bá dákẹ́ tara ẹni máa bá ní dákẹ́.
àwọn ọmọ Odùduwà. ayé wa òòrè.
bẹ́ẹ̀ wá bá di méjì yóò dogun bí èjì bá di méjì tá a bá fẹ́ takun yóò díje. ìdí àti abárè tí àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá lábẹ́ àkóso olórí oko káfàtà bàbá wa emeritus ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Bánjí Akíntóyè ṣe ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ètò kan àrà ọ̀tọ̀ tí a ń pè ní ẹ̀wá Ọ̀rànmíyàn láti tẹ́ ìṣòro kò pọ̀ kò kéré lórí ọ̀rọ̀ lówódé gbogbo.
a pe fọ́ǹdì ní Ọ̀rànmíyàn Ọ̀rànmíyàn kí ni di 10 tá a fi sí yẹn ni pé ibikíbi tó bá ń gbé lórílẹ̀-èdè ayé ibikíbi tó bá ń gbé nǹkan owó tán bá ná bẹ̀ mẹ́wàá náà ló máa fi sí tó bá gbé Nàìjíríà 10 naira lóṣooṣù tó bá gbé Amẹ́ríkà $10 lóṣooṣù tó bá gbé Britain 10 pounds lóṣooṣù tó bá gbé Europe €10 lóṣooṣù bẹ́ẹ̀ ni káàkiri ayé pátápátá.
ẹ̀wá ọ̀ràn míyàn mẹ́wàá la ó máa san lóṣooṣù ìyún lọ́wọ́ ìlú tá a bá wà tó jẹ́ wípé tí àwọn ará Amẹ́ríkà bá ti ń san $10 ni àwọn ará Canada ó máa san $10 ni ará London ó máa san £10 àwọn ará Europe ó máa san €10 tí gbogbo àwọn tó wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ó sì máa san $10 àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ká mọ́ fàkókò ṣòfò nípa bá a ṣe lè sanwó wọlé sórí ẹ̀wá ọ̀ràn míyàn yìí ní gbogbo ìlú tàbí orílẹ̀-èdè tẹ́ ẹ bá wà ẹ̀yẹn sáti tẹ www.ysdm.org/donate lọ́gán ni yóò gbé ìwọ́nú àsùnwọ̀n tẹ́ ẹ ti lè sanwó wọlé bákan náà ni tó bá ṣe PayPal transfer ni ẹ tẹ finance@ysdf.ca tó bá ṣe Stripe transfers ni ẹ tẹ finance@ysdf.ca Zelle fún àwọn tó wà ní Amẹ́ríkà nìkan ẹ tẹ finance@ysdf.ca email transfer fún àwọn tó wà ní Canada ẹ tẹ finance@ysdf.ca fún àwọn tó wà nílùú Nàìjà UBA la ó máa sanwó sí account name Ọ̀rànmíyàn multipurpose cooperative account number 10270694007 fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé síwájú sí i tàbí láti san owó ẹ̀wá tí ń lóṣù yìí ẹ kàn sí bàbá wa Sam Ọ̀yábáyọ̀ tí wọ́n jẹ́ YSDM Head of Finance lórí +44 793 959 3613 tàbí kẹ́kàn sí wọn lórí sam.oyabayo@ysdf.ca ẹ̀wá Ọ̀rànmíyàn lájìjọpọ̀ wọ́pọ̀ kágbé lárugẹ. ìkéde ìdẹ́sẹ̀ tí gbọ́n látọwọ́ ìgbìmọ̀ tó wà fún ìpolongo Yorùbá World Media both home and in diaspora àti gbogbo ìkànnì mìíràn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè fún jàǹgbara òmìnira ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Ọ̀rọ̀ nípa ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n.
Àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ni.